Welcome to the Week 15. God, it's Week 15, folks. Can you believe it? Week 15, halftime with Harmon stream. We are live right now. Your fantasy playoffs are happening. So much is happening. I'm here at my desk. You can't see it, but this is one of the most high-tech desks you've ever seen. I actually have controls here to operate everything. I'm updating the Yahoo scores over here. Just kidding. No, that's not real. What is the scoop on Aaron Jones? First question comes in from Craig on Facebook, and it's looking like he's out for the rest of this game with a knee injury, which is a real bummer because talk about a player with a sky-high outlook for next season, Aaron Jones as the Packers feature back. Of course, he's had a great year. He's had a really good year so far. He scored a lot of touchdowns. He actually has really started to develop a good pass-catching floor. He's had 3+ catches in several games in a row. Even last week when it looked like Joe Philbin was going to start goofing around with Jamal Williams as the feature back, throwing him out there on 100% of the snaps on the first two drives. Jones comes back, has a nice game, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Someone says no one gives a crap about your desk. I agree. No one gives a crap about the desk. It was a joke, people. Come on, try to lighten up here. It's football. It's not a serious thing. But what is serious is it looks like Aaron Jones' injury is probably going to be serious. He exits this game, 4 carries, 8 yards. Jamal Williams has taken over. He's actually averaging 4.8 yards per carry against this really tough Bears front, so that's nice to see. If you get bounced out because of Aaron Jones, don't worry, you're not alone. Keenan Allen was another guy who dropped a goose egg on some people in their fantasy championships. We hope his hip is okay after landing on it on a near touchdown. So Aaron Jones out. I think, Jamal Williams is somebody that's probably on a lot of waiver wires. If you make it to your Week 16 fantasy championship, I hope you're playing your fantasy championships in Week 16 and not Week 17, because Week 17 fantasy championships are for chumps. You heard it here first, folks. I think that Williams will make a really nice play next week. He'll be a guy that is probably going to handle 100% of the backfield touches if Aaron Jones is out. Hopefully, we'll keep our eye out on any reports. If you guys could keep me updated in the chat as we're here talking for the next 15 minutes or so, that would be really great. And speaking of what we're going to do next after this, I do want to say we're going to have a nice special edition here on our Twitch page, on the Yahoo Fantasy Facebook page, the Twitter stream. Liz Loza and I will be doing a little holiday special edition. I'll be cooking up some Brussels sprouts, so for you sprouts heads out there, believe me, it's going to be a lot of fun. Liz is going to be dishing out holiday gift-giving advice because I am a trash gift giver. I'm really bad at it. I text my sister this morning, like, what do you want for Christmas? She just says, I don't know. That's not very helpful. Not very helpful at all. But so, anyways, back to football. The Bears, 14-3 over the Green Bay Packers. Let's move actually to another NFC North team right now. We'll check in on the Vikings, who are up 21-10 on the Miami Dolphins. Of course, we know that the Minnesota Vikings underwent some changes this week. Hot offensive coordinator John DeFilippo came in pretty cold in Minnesota and ended up getting fired after that embarrassing Week 14 Monday night effort against the Seattle Seahawks, where they could get absolutely nothing going. Kirk Cousins throwing backwards passes, literally turns his back to the defense and chucks a pass to Latavius Murray. Like, what are you doing? One of the most embarrassing efforts I've ever seen. Kirk's still messing around a little bit here. He throws a pick six, which is the Dolphins' only score of the game. 50-yard touchdown by Minkah Fitzpatrick. But one thing I noticed right away, and this was something that was actually on my radar, Dalvin Cook had a nice game here. If you read in my Friday preview column of this Week 15 slate, I really thought that Dalvin Cook was in line for a nice game because, one, the Dolphins are terrible against the run. They're top 5 in yards allowed on the season. They've given up some passing game production as well. But what was clear from this game is that Dalvin Cook was going to be the featured piece of the offense because Mike Zimmer was upset that they weren't establishing the run. He was complaining about it publicly, like kind of almost throwing DeFilippo under the bus. I think it's pretty clear that those two just never saw eye to eye on philosophy. I think that Mike Zimmer probably wanted to make Kevin Stefanski, the now offensive coordinator, the guy all along because it's kind of a guy who's risen up his coaching tree, had the same philosophies. He didn't want to. Pat Shurmur actually tried to poach Stefanski and bring him to the Giants job that he took over the summer, but of course, that did not happen. Stefanski, now the offensive coordinator. Dalvin Cook comes out hot, 10 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown against these Dolphins. And in the receiving game, we've got Stephon Diggs with a touchdown as well because he is really freaking awesome. Checking on you guys in the chats. Yeah, a lot of Aaron Jones chatter. Of course, we talked about that up top. Jones is probably going to miss the rest of this game. I think we're having a situation where he's probably going to be out maybe for the rest of the season. I mean, the Packers don't have any to play for, so we might not see Jones for the rest of this year. Hopefully in 2019 he can come out with a lot more momentum because this is a guy that is one of the most talented runners in the NFL, and if he can really hone on more of his pass protection, more of his pass blocking skills, we might see him become, I don't know, you guys tell me, top 10, top 8, top 5 fantasy runner next year. If the Packers hire an innovative offensive coordinator, I think we could see a lot of fireworks from Jones. But let's talk about what's on everybody's mind right now. He has 18.9 fantasy points right now after dominating on Thursday night against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 14. We've got Derrick Henry out here with 127 yards rushing and a touchdown against the New York Giants, who, of course, we know are disgusting. They're horrible. They're an embarrassment as a run defense. They're talking about bringing Eli Manning back as their quarterback next year. Terrific. But Derrick Henry, I mean, he's really closing the season strong, which is interesting, right? Because, you wait all year to be good. If you own him in fantasy, you hate your life right now. But Derrick Henry right now, 21 carries in the first half. Unbelievable. I don't know what it is that the coaching staff saw. Maybe it was in practice before Week 14 that they just wanted to saddle him up, or maybe now it is that Week 14 performance that's really, it's kind of guiding Henry. It's guiding the coaching staff to be like, let's ride this guy. I mean, it's very interesting, right? Mariota with 13 pass attempts, nothing going on there. They're saddling up Derrick Henry as the clear feature back. Henry, of course, I have long been infatuated with this player's skill set, right? Because he's built like a freaking tank. If you've ever seen him in real life, he is a true, looks like a defensive end. I mean, he's a freak show. He's very fast, he's not elusive at all, but if you can get that head of steam, and the Titans do have the skeleton, I think, of a good offensive line. So the situation looks good for Derrick Henry. Maybe we see him in his next season really take off as a feature back. I don't know. Or this could just be an easy flash in the pan. So it's cool to see Derrick Henry finish strong like this. Hopefully you played him in DFS if you owned him all year and you got knocked out of your playoffs. But nothing much else going on in the Tennessee Titans offense. The only fantasy team that I still have alive in the playoffs actually had Dion Lewis on it, and that was a hard no for me, which is great because he's been, essentially phased out of the offense here. But what is on your guys' mind? Head up the chat. There's a lot of great things to talk about here in Week 15. So many fun storylines. We've got great games coming up later tonight. Of course, the LA Rams will welcome the Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Foles, of course, big storyline there, is going to take over the starting job with Carson Wentz has like a vertebrae issue in his back. We might not see him the rest of the regular season. I think that the offense doesn't change much with Nick Foles back there because, frankly, it wasn't operating at peak efficiency anyways. They really have no idea how to integrate Golden Tate into the offense. They don't want to take Nelson Aguilar off the field because he's really their only big play threat, and even he's been touch and go all year. They don't have a running back who can play in both phases. Josh Adams is a nice runner, but he is at this point a dud in the pass game. So the Eagles offense really just can't play left-handed right now, which is what they were so great at doing in 2017 when they won the Super Bowl. So we'll see them take on the LA Rams, and I think it's a great bounce-back spot for all your Rams. If you're playing in DFS tournaments and you can make some swaps, I think that you want to have some of these Rams in there. We, of course, have the $1 Million Baller tournament going on here at Yahoo Fantasy. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch that game, to track it and see what happens. Kanye, or I don't think that's the actual Kanye, but Kanye Sampson on Twitter weighs in with, I have Keenan Allen and Aaron Jones in. Great. Yeah, that sucks. Fantasy is very heartbreaking here at the end of the year. I want to touch on the Dallas Cowboys-Indianapolis Colts game, because this is one I was definitely really interested in tracking, because the Cowboys, of course, have played very well of late. After Amari Cooper came over, they've suddenly positioned themselves as a playoff contender. Ezekiel Elliott's having a nice game today outside of a fumble. 13 carries for 64 yards, and of course he has 3 catches for 23 yards. That's been one of the quiet developments of the season. Zeke is top 5 in catches per game at the running back position, and that's not really something that was in his repertoire coming into this year, but right now is tied for the lead on Dallas in catches in this game, and that makes sense because the Colts are actually giving up more receiving production in terms of catches to the running back position than any other team in the NFL. But what's going on with the passing game? I think a lot of people are wondering that. Amari Cooper looks like he might be in the middle of one of his disappearing jobs here. 2 for 16 on the day so far. I expected this game to be a little bit more high scoring than it has been so far, but I mean, shout out to Marlon Mack, who has run really well. We're watching right now Andrew Luck take a long run down the sideline there too. The Colts have been able to run the ball really well in this Dallas front, which of course has some nice players up on the defensive line and Leighton Vander Esch and Jalen Smith at linebacker. So I really like the way that this game sets up for Marlon Mack going forward, who was someone I was actually a little bit iffy on going into this game. In the passing game for the Dallas Cowboys, hopefully we see some more from Amari Cooper and maybe even Michael Gallup in the second half. Gallup came into this game leading the Cowboys in air yards over the last 3 weeks, despite Amari Cooper being the one getting all the receiving production. Dak Prescott has missed him just a bit on a few deep passes over the last few weeks. Of course, I mentioned that the top scoring player in fantasy right now is actually the Falcons defense, 26-7 over the Arizona Cardinals. Probably not even worth checking in on that game. Who cares? A lot of who cares type of games here in the first half. I mean, it's loaded with just whatever games. I mean, Washington and Jacksonville, like who cares what's going on there? Cincinnati, Oakland, who cares? Oakland's getting wiped by the Bengals 20-7 at home. Pretty embarrassing. Got a good question on Facebook. Christopher asks us, Big Ben with cracked ribs at home versus New England or Cam with a bum shoulder versus New Orleans? Crappy either way, LOL. I'm not laughing at those choices, Christopher. I actually think those are both two really good options because, as I'm mentioning here, we're going through these just stupid-looking games here in the first half of the slate. Pittsburgh, New England should be a really, really high-scoring game. I think Carolina, New Orleans is going to be a nice shootout. This is a tough one. This is a really good debate, but I think I am going to go Cam Newton here. The Panthers are playing at home. They've been much better at home this year. I know they've dropped 5 in a row. I think this will be a competitive game here between the Saints and the Panthers. The Panthers need to win their next 3 games in order to position themselves to potentially make a late playoff push. I don't think they're going to do it, but I do think Cam Newton has a nice game here, even though the fact he has this bum shoulder, he still played well as a short passer. He's still running the football here a little bit, even if he's not drilling passes to the sideline. I think you can rely on Cam Newton. And while I like the way things set up for Pittsburgh and New England as a shootout, I think that New England is really going to take this game. You know, they have constantly been able to get over on that Steelers defense. 310 passing yards. That's what Brady averages against the Steelers since 2013. They really diced them up with the short pass game. I think we see Julian Edelman, by the way. He's like the anchor of my DFS lineups this week. I think he is coming in with a really nice matchup. In reception perception, the wide receiver methodology that I do, he's a 98th percentile success rate versus zone coverage player. We know the Steelers are a very zone-heavy team. So love Edelman in that game. I think both those two games are going to be really fun to watch, and we hope you stick around for more action here if you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube,
makes them
whatever.
fumble
We're going
more.
to relaunch the stream
It makes
here
them think
in a
about
few
it
minutes.
too much, and then they
I'm
can't
going to be
just
cooking some Brussels
run.
sprouts. Liz Loza is going to be here. I point to her. She's not even here, but she will be here. She'll be giving holiday gift advice for me, for all of you people who just can't figure out how to give people good gifts. You know, you got a mom, you got a girlfriend, you got a dad, a cousin, whatever. We'll be telling you how to give good gifts so that, you know, I don't make all my family members horrifically disappointed in me this holiday season. Speaking of disappointment, if you didn't play Marlon Mack, you'll be disappointed because he just scored another touchdown. But anyways, that is going to do it for this early game halftime with Harmon Stream. Remember, again, stick around for the holiday special coming up. It's going to be a lot of fun. So remember, you can follow me on Twitter at @MattHarmon_BYB for all the good tweets. Many people are saying that. You can also follow at Yahoo Fantasy for some pretty solid tweets too. You can follow the show Halftime with Harmon on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, of course. We love you, Twitch community. My heart goes out to all of you. And for everybody behind the camera, all the beautiful folks back there, we're out of here.